Alright, so we all know that not every single player game these days justifies that full price tag. Some feel rushed, others end up needing a few patches before they're actually enjoyable, but when a game nails its storytelling, gameplay, and presentation all at once, that's when it's worth every penny. So today, we're going over 30 single-player games that are totally worth paying full price for. Let's start with a very recent game, Ghost of Yotei. Alright, so I just finished playing this game, and honestly, it's fucking awesome. I don't care about anyone's ratings. If you ask me, it's worth every penny. It's the kind of game that reminds you why you fell in love with single-player titles in the first place. It's visually ridiculous. Every frame looks like concept art that escaped the art department. The swordplay is clean, brutal, and so fluid it almost feels disrespectful to the enemies. The story balances tragedy and badassery like a samurai soap opera, and that's a compliment. What really sells it though is how grounded everything feels. The wind guiding you, the quiet duels, the poetic deaths. It's not about flashy combos, it's about fighting with intent. This game isn't just worth full price. It feels like it should come with a tea ceremony and a life lesson. Next on the list is the best game from this year so far, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. So this is one of those games that makes you stare at the screen mid-battle and go, wait, am I actually playing this or just watching art move? It's a painter's fever dream turned into an RPG, part turn-based, part performance piece. The visuals look like oil paint set on fire, and the music feels like it's judging your every decision. The story hits deep, full of beauty, loss, and that creeping existential dread that French art does best. The combat system might confuse you at first, but once it clicks, it's weirdly satisfying, like mastering a musical instrument while fighting monsters. It's emotional, bold, and unapologetically weird, and worth every penny for anyone who loves games that dare to be different.
A storm is coming.
Death Stranding 2 is a game that looks you dead in the eye and says, you're gonna deliver this package, and you're gonna feel something while doing it. It's bizarre in all the right Kojima ways. Part sci-fi drama, part hiking simulator, part therapy session. One minute you're crossing a wind-battered ridge, the next you're watching a cinematic that makes you question the meaning of connection, death, and monster energy. It's slower than your average blockbuster, but that's the point. It's meditative, haunting, and uncomfortably human. The world feels lonely. The soundtrack hits like heartbreak, and when the story comes together, it's genuinely unforgettable. It's weird art disguised as a video game, and I'd pay full price again just to deliver Mail Across Apocalypse number 2. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 doesn't care about your dragon-slaying fantasies or magic spells. It drops you into medieval Bohemia and basically says, figure it out, peasant. And honestly, that's the charm. It's the most realistic medieval experience you can get. Eating, bathing, and even learning to read feels like quests. The combat system punishes button mashers. It demands patience, timing, and humility, just like actual sword fighting. Every NPC has a routine, every choice has consequences, and every tavern feels like a place where someone's about to start a brawl. It's dense, grounded, and incredibly satisfying once you stop expecting fantasy shortcuts. If you ever wanted to earn your hero status instead of being handed it, this game is worth every cent of your coin pouch.
Come on then! The pillory's too good for you! I'll chop you up on the spot!
Avowed feels like that friend who read too much Tolkien and then decided to build their own world. And somehow, it actually worked. Obsidian went full classic RPG mode here, mixing the depth of old-school dialogue trees with modern flair. The world feels alive, morally messy, full of strange gods, questionable magic, and characters who talk like they've all got secrets to hide. The combat sits nicely between spell-slinging chaos and strategic planning, letting you actually roleplay instead of just click until dead. What really makes it shine is the writing. Sharp, philosophical, occasionally snarky. It's that rare RPG where you pause before answering a question because the dialogue feels real. Avowed doesn't just deserve its full price. It earns it with every branching choice and morally confusing decision. Mafia: The Old Country doesn't reinvent the wheel. It just makes that wheel a hand-polished, whiskey-soaked classic. It's everything you want from a Mafia story. Loyalty, betrayal, and enough Italian accents to make you crave pasta by Mission 3. The attention to detail here is insane. From the old cars that drive like bricks on ice to the soundtrack that makes you feel like you're in a 1950s mob movie marathon. The story hits hard, the voice acting sells every shady deal, and the pacing feels cinematic without trying too hard. There's no filler, no pointless open-world fluff, just pure character-driven storytelling the way it used to be. If you love crime dramas where everyone's both tragic and stylish, this one's absolutely worth the cash. And maybe a fedora. The first Berserker Khazan is that rare kind of action RPG that makes you feel unstoppable one second and completely humiliated the next. It's brutal, fast, and looks like someone turned a heavy metal album cover into a video game. The combat is pure chaos, weighty, bloody, and incredibly stylish once you stop button mashing and start actually thinking. Every boss fight feels like a test of patience and pride, the kind that makes you question your life choices mid-battle but fist pump when you finally win. The art direction deserves an award for most dramatic lighting ever used on a sword. It's unapologetically intense. No filler, no fluff, just pure fury in playable form. Paying full price for this is like buying a ticket to your own epic meltdown, and it's glorious. Silent Hill 2 Remake isn't just a horror game. It's an emotional gut punch wearing fog and static. It takes the classic psychological terror and rebuilds it with enough modern detail to make you afraid of your own reflection. The lighting alone deserves therapy. It's not about jump scares, it's about dread. That slow, heavy fear that crawls under your skin and whispers, "You shouldn't have opened that door." The performances hit harder than ever, the environments are hauntingly beautiful, and the story, well, it still hurts in that I need to lie down kind of way. It's uncomfortable, it's tragic, and it's one of the few remakes that actually respects your intelligence. If you're paying full price for trauma, this is top shelf stuff. Black Myth Wukong is what happens when a studio says, what if we just flexed for 40 hours straight? It's part myth, part fever dream, and fully gorgeous. The visuals look like Pixar got lost in Chinese folklore, and the combat is as smooth as it is punishing. Every boss feels handcrafted to ruin your self-esteem, in a good way. The storytelling blends humor, mysticism, and tragedy so naturally, it feels like you're reading an ancient legend told by someone who owns a gaming PC. It's not just pretty, it's layered, with smart level design and a satisfying learning curve that keeps you hooked. You'll die a lot, sure, but you'll look great doing it. If any game justifies its price by sheer craftsmanship, it's this one. Pure art with a body count. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth feels like nostalgia and innovation had a baby, and it grew up with abs. It's not just a remake, it's a full reimagining with enough heart, humor, and spectacle to make old fans cry and new players obsessed. The combat system perfectly balances strategy and chaos, letting you swap between characters mid-fight like a DJ mixing pain and beauty. The writing's sharp, the performances feel alive, and the world, man, it's dense. Every area begs to be explored, every side quest feels personal, and the emotional beats land like gut punches wrapped in beautiful music. It's cinematic, it's confident, and it's expensive, but worth every damn gill.
Time to bash.
Assassin's Creed Shadows finally delivers what every fan's been screaming for since 2009, Japan. And thankfully, it's not just samurai skin on an old formula. The world feels alive, rich with culture, mud, and regret. You can play as a stealthy ninja or a proud samurai, and both feel distinct enough to make replaying the story feel fresh. The stealth is tight, the sword duels are cinematic, and the lighting somehow makes every rain-soaked rooftop look like a painting. It's slower paced, more deliberate, and actually respects your intelligence for once. You're not climbing towers to reveal map spam. You're living in the moment, blade in hand, plotting your next poetic murder. Shadows is proof that Ubisoft still knows how to make single-player magic when it chills out and lets you breathe. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle feels like someone found the old adventure game DNA, dusted it off, and injected it with cinematic steroids. It's pure pulp action. Puzzles, ruins, traps, and one-liners sharp enough to cut rope bridges. The pacing is old school in the best way. No filler, just one set piece after another, all tied together by Indy's charm and that perfect, slightly smug grin. The game nails that adventure movie tone better than most actual movies, and the soundtrack might as well come with a fedora. There's something refreshing about a game that's confident enough to just let you adventure. No leveling, no grinding, just classic fun and clever design. Paying full price for this feels less like a purchase and more like buying a ticket to nostalgia done right. Still Wakes the Deep proves that horror doesn't need cheap jump scares when atmosphere can make your skin crawl on its own. You're stuck on an oil rig in the middle of the North Sea, and the sea is the least scary thing there. The tension builds slowly. The creaks, the dripping water, the distant screams, until you realize you've been holding your breath for 10 minutes. The story's short but laser-focused, turning isolation into its own character. It's not about monsters popping out. It's about the crushing dread of knowing something is coming, but not when. The voice acting and sound design are so good you might start checking your own walls for leaks. It's the kind of horror game that doesn't just scare you, it lingers like a bad dream, in the best possible way. God of War Ragnarok isn't just a sequel, it's a masterclass in how to end a saga. Every swing of Kratos' axe feels heavy. Every argument with Atreus feels like therapy you didn't sign up for. The storytelling here is cinematic without drowning in its own ego. The combat is smoother, faster, and packed with so much emotional weight it's almost unfair to the rest of the genre. You'll go from ripping apart monsters to having quiet moments of father-son awkwardness that feel painfully real. The visuals are obscene, like pause just to admire the lighting levels of good. It's violent, heartfelt, and surprisingly funny when it wants to be. It's a full-course meal of a game, worth every dollar, every tear, and every axe throw that hits just right. The Plague Tale series is like someone took a historical drama and said, you know what this needs? 10,000 rats. And it works. Both Innocence and Requiem deliver emotional, beautifully directed stories that feel human at their core. Amicia and Hugo's relationship is heartbreaking, raw, and full of little moments that stick with you. The stealth gameplay isn't flashy, but it's tense and thoughtful. You're not a superhero, you're just trying to survive in a world that's falling apart. The visuals and sound design make medieval France feel alive and miserable all at once. It's artfully depressing, but in a cathartic way. Paying full price for these games doesn't just buy you gameplay. It buys you a gut-wrenching story that'll haunt you longer than the credits roll.
Did you come to finish me?
Shut up! We're taking you out of here!
Ha!
Lies of P is one of those games that makes you wonder why a story about a murderous puppet feels so classy. It's dark, it's gothic, and it's got that From Software flavor. the kind that makes victory taste like relief instead of triumph. The combat is precise, punishing, and beautifully animated. Every parry feels like snapping fate in half. The world design oozes atmosphere. Old cities, creepy automatons, and a story that somehow turns Pinocchio into a tragic opera about humanity. The soundtrack slaps harder than expected, and the customization keeps you tinkering long after midnight. It's stylish without being pretentious, tough without being unfair. Lies of P doesn't just earn its price tag, it earns your respect, one perfectly timed dodge at a time. Batman Arkham Knight is basically the gold standard for how to end a trilogy. Dramatic, stylish, and just self-serious enough to make you feel cool playing it. Gotham looks phenomenal, dripping in neon and rain, like a city that's perpetually stuck in a moody music video. The combat system is still unmatched. Smooth, rhythmic, brutal ballet. And yes, the Batmobile missions are divisive, but when you're not ramming tanks, it's pure fun to drive. The story ties up years of character development and still finds time to explore Bruce's fragile mental state with surprising depth. It's the kind of game that makes you feel like Batman, not because of the gadgets or muscles, but because you're constantly juggling chaos with grim determination. It's still worth every penny, cape and all. Cyberpunk 2077 was the kid who showed up late to class but ended up acing the final. After years of patches and redemption arcs, it finally delivers the futuristic RPG everyone wanted, especially with Phantom Liberty attached. Night City feels alive, chaotic, and dangerously believable. The writing's sharp, full of broken people chasing purpose, and Idris Elba steals every scene like it's his side gig. The gameplay's smoother, the world denser, and the choices actually matter now. What used to be a meme is now a masterpiece. Gritty, soulful, and strangely personal. You don't just play V, you become them, flaws and all. Cyberpunk finally found its soul, and if you missed it at launch, paying full price now is basically buying into one of gaming's best comeback stories.
Your asses! They're zeroing up!
Skyrim is that one friend who's been around forever, but still manages to impress you every time you hang out. It's buggy, sure. Half the charm is watching a dragon land backwards, but it's also one of the most immersive open worlds ever built. Every cave, every shout, every random bard encounter still feels fresh after a decade. The mods keep it alive like a digital Frankenstein's monster, but even the vanilla version has a kind of magic you can't replicate. The freedom is unmatched. You can be a noble hero, a stealthy thief, or someone who just hoards cheese wheels for sport. Skyrim's full-price value isn't in graphics or polish, it's in stories, the ones you accidentally create by just existing in its world. Timeless, janky, and perfect.
I'll rip your heart out!
The Witcher 3 isn't just a great RPG, it's the definition of one. It's got heart, grit, and dialogue so good it ruins other games for you. Every side quest feels like it could be someone else's main story, and Geralt's dry humor alone is worth the ticket. The combat's solid, but it's the writing and world building that make it special. Morally great choices, layered characters, and a world that feels truly alive. The expansions, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine, are basically full games on their own and better than most AAA titles today. You can lose 200 hours in this thing and still feel like you've missed something. It's not just worth full price, it's worth rebuying on every platform you own just to have an excuse to replay it again.
No choice.
Hi-Fi Rush is pure joy bottled up and dropped on a drum beat. It's the kind of game that just feels good to play. Every punch, dodge, and jump syncing perfectly with the music like you're starring in your own animated concert. The art style is bold and cartoonish, but it's backed up by tight gameplay that rewards rhythm and timing over brute force. The characters are lovable goofballs, the humor actually lands, and the energy never dips. It's refreshing to play something that isn't trying to be dark, gritty, or realistic, just unapologetically fun. Even if you have the rhythm of a dying metronome, the game makes you feel like a rock star. For the price, you're basically buying happiness with guitar solos. Days Gone might not have launched with the flashiest reputation, but it's one of those games that quietly grows on you. It's a biker apocalypse story that somehow manages to be both grim and heartfelt. The world feels lived in. Dangerous highways, creepy forests, and freakers, never zombies they insist, swarming like nature's worst brainstorm. Deacon St. John isn't your typical hero. He's rough, flawed, and more human than most AAA protagonists. The bike becomes your lifeline, your best friend, and occasionally your worst enemy when you forget to refuel in the middle of nowhere. The story's surprisingly emotional, and the horde battles are still some of the most chaotic fun you can have. It's not perfect, but it's genuine, and that makes it worth every cent. Alan Wake 2 feels like a fever dream directed by David Lynch after too much coffee. It's weird, stylish, and borderline genius. The kind of horror game that plays with your mind as much as your reflexes. Remedy turned narrative design into an art form here. The dual protagonist structure between Alan and Saga keeps things unpredictable, and the blending of live action with gameplay somehow works beautifully instead of feeling gimmicky. The writing's sharp, the scares are smart, and the world oozes atmosphere. Every scene feels like it's hiding a secret. Every clue drags you deeper down the psychological rabbit hole. It's not just a sequel, it's a statement that storytelling in games can be both bizarre and brilliant. Expensive? Sure, but it feels like paying for a front row seat to insanity done right. Elden Ring is basically From Software saying, let's give you freedom and watch you suffer beautifully. It's brutal, yes, but it's also astonishingly generous. A massive open world full of secrets, bosses, and heartbreak. The beauty of it is how little the game explains. It just drops you in, pats you on the back, and says, good luck. And somehow that works. Every victory feels earned, every shortcut discovered feels personal, and every failure teaches you something, usually the hard way. The art direction's jaw-dropping, the lore is deep enough to drown in, and the sense of exploration is unmatched. It's punishing but fair, mysterious but rewarding. You don't just play Elden Ring, you live in it. Paying full price for this isn't even a debate, it's an investment in bragging rights. Far Cry Primal is the weird middle child of the series. No guns, no cars, just spears, mammoths, and pure prehistoric chaos. And honestly, it works way better than it has any right to. The setting feels refreshingly raw. Every hunt, every night in the woods carries real tension. You're not mowing down outposts with machine guns, you're surviving with sticks and instinct. The animal taming system turns beasts into buddies, and the world design makes you appreciate just how terrifying nature can be when you're not armed with modern firepower. The story isn't rewriting history, but it's immersive enough to pull you in, and the atmosphere's fantastic. It's one of the few games that make you feel primitive, in the best possible way. Paying full price for it feels like funding an archaeological adventure with attitude. Ghost Runner 2 feels like being trapped in a cyberpunk fever dream with a katana and a caffeine addiction. It's fast, slick, and absolutely unforgiving, in the best way. Every level is a dance between precision and panic, where one wrong jump sends you back to rethink your life choices. But when you get it right, it's glorious. The flow of movement, the timing of dodges, the slicing of enemies midair, it all clicks like a perfectly tuned rhythm game with murder. The story doesn't waste your time, the music hits like an energy drink for your ears, and the visuals make neon look like religion. It's the definition of just one more try gaming. You're not paying for a power fantasy here, you're paying to earn coolness, one respawn at a time.
Signal a Ghost Runner system will automatically respond to is...
Another Ghost Runner signal?
Correct. Takes a thief to catch a thief. Or something like that. Smart. Of course it is.
Uncharted 4 is cinematic gaming done right. The kind of adventure that makes you wish your life had a soundtrack and perfectly timed quips. Nathan Drake's final chapter is equal parts explosive set pieces and emotional closure, and somehow it nails both. The visuals are ridiculous, the performances feel genuine, and the pacing is tighter than Drake's grip on a collapsing ledge. It's a story about growing up, letting go, and still managing to cause property damage on a global scale. Every chase, every climb, every argument with Sully feels iconic. You don't just play Uncharted 4, you live it like a playable movie. Paying full price for it feels less like buying a game and more like buying an adventure vacation where everything explodes beautifully.
God damn it! We gotta shake that truck!
Working on it.
Longer.
Resident Evil 4 Remake is a rare case of a remake that doesn't just honor the original. It completely elevates it. It's smoother, smarter, scarier, and somehow funnier too. Leon's still quipping like it's 2005, but the world around him is grittier and more believable. The combat has weight now. Every shot feels deliberate, every parry feels heroic, and the pacing is a masterclass in tension. Capcom rebuilt this thing with love and precision, trimming the cheese while keeping the flavor. The lighting, the sound, the detail, it's a survival horror symphony that still respects its campy roots. It's not just nostalgia, it's craftsmanship. Paying full price for this feels like buying back your best memories, only with sharper graphics and bloodier chainsaws. Fallout 4 is the kind of game that makes you lose track of time, sleep, and occasionally your moral compass. It's a post-apocalyptic playground full of choices, chaos, and questionable decor decisions for your settlements. The world is massive and full of stories, some tragic, some ridiculous, all memorable. The gunplay's tight, the exploration never gets old, and crafting your base becomes an addiction you didn't plan for. Sure, it's buggy, but that's part of the charm. It's like a loyal dog with a limp, flawed but lovable. The DLCs add even more weirdness, from haunted amusement parks to robot rebellions. Fallout 4 doesn't hold your hand. It just hands you a gun, a wrench, and says, "Good luck, survivor." Worth every bottle cap and then some.
Stop! Stop!
Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is what happens when a sequel decides to flex. Swinging through New York has never felt smoother. You can practically feel the wind in your controller. The dual storylines of Peter and Miles intertwine perfectly, giving both heroes real emotional arcs instead of just costume swaps. The combat flows like choreography, the traversal feels like meditation, and the boss fights are pure comic book spectacle. The writing's sharp, the humor lands, and the game constantly surprises you with how human its characters are. It's not just about saving the city, it's about balancing life, loss, and the joy of being a hero. This is premium superhero storytelling wrapped in top-tier gameplay. Full price? It feels underpriced for how much heart it delivers.
Break into that building. What? You lose your keys? Happens to me all the time.
And that's 30 single-player games that are absolutely worth the price of admission. These are the kind of experiences that stick with you long after the credits roll. No microtransactions, no distractions, just pure storytelling and gameplay. If you enjoyed the list, drop a like, subscribe for more gaming breakdowns, and tell me in the comments, Which single-player game do you think is worth every penny? Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.